This episode is proudly sponsored by Amber L. Contact us today to learn how you can be a part of the vibration experience. Hello and welcome to Vibration, where I empower individuals to speak their distinct truth, passions, and personal message on a global online stage. I'm your host, Michelle McDonald, passionate author, speaker, and entrepreneur. As a reminder, this episode is proudly sponsored by Amber L, a Bahamian artisan skincare brand that encourages you to nourish your everyday skin glow. Food is one of the most impactful aspects of life and goes way beyond food when we think about it being on the plate and how we can serve it and bring life to others. In connection with this concept and also with the theme Representation Matters, Faces of the Caribbean, is the topic connecting food, writing, and purpose, living life out loud, with my special guest, Chef Geleta Parker, who is affectionately called Gigi, which means God is gracious. With flair and transparency in life, she is well known as an international speaker, author, poet laureate, teacher, private chef, cake artist, and serial entrepreneur who founded the brand OMGIGIBEE LLC. Her brand exerts creativity and passion, and she believes in victory and resilience. Gigi was born and raised in the beautiful Bahamas, the place where God lives, and she currently resides in the metropolitan area of Atlanta, Georgia. She is the wife of a United States soldier, and they are the parents of 3 children. Gigi is currently pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree in Psychology Life Coaching, where she is a senior and Dean's List recipient at Liberty University. Gigi truly loves to serve. As a substitute teacher for Cobb County Schools and a facilitator at the FAR Institute in Nassau, Bahamas, mentoring incarcerated teenage boys and girls, she strives hard to bridge gaps by contributing to her community and pouring into the lives of children and their families. In the fall of 2019, the founder and executive director of Sunflower Ministries, Mary Lucy Holiday, and Gigi co-chaired a charitable outreach they called the Bahamas Blessing Project. Together, they have sponsored 7 Bahamian women who had been severely affected by the catastrophic devastation of Hurricane Dorian. These women were given full scholarships, including airfare and all expenses paid, to attend retreat number 52, Focus on His Love. This life-changing Christian retreat was held in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Cleveland, Georgia, where she was also the keynote speaker, sharing biblical truths from her book, Beautifully Broken. Her other publication is a memoir titled Catch and Release, Seeds of Deception, in addition to 2 children's books. Gigi is very passionate about serving her country and community, whether it's by tantalizing the taste buds or adding nourishment to the mind, body, and soul of others. Gigi, welcome to the stage tonight.
Hi. Thank you so much. It is my esteemed honor and privilege to be here with you, Michelle, on today. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm very excited to get into our topic, especially because I am a foodie. But girl, before we get there, we're going to talk about some books.
All right.
Your very first published book was in 2017 entitled Beautifully Broken and has led to numerous others that have impacted readers of all ages. What was your journey like as an author?
Woo. It has been it's been difficult. It has its ups and its downs, simply because I always had a love or a passion for writing. It's how I expressed myself. So I journaled really, I've been journaling since I was about maybe 9 or 10. And I had a lot of stuff to unpack. So it helped me to self-soothe, right? Just writing it down. Um, Part of that journey, though, because I had to unpack so much stuff and not feel safe enough to share my experience with others, it filled me with a lot of faulty thinking, right? And most of those seeds were planted from others. You're not going to be smart enough. Girl, you see where you from? You from Bahamian Town. Nothing good comes out of Bahamian Town, and we know, I call it the spiritual bipolar, because you know what the truth is, but yet the enemy continues to plant these seeds, and it's like throwing spaghetti to the wall, right? Whatever sticks, that's what he's excited about. And so I kind of adopted that through my journey of writing. Even though I wrote to self-soothe, those faulty thinkings in my head was like, you can't share this stuff with anybody. Keep this to yourself. Self-soothe. And that comes from a place of selfishness, right? Because it's a gift.
Yes, it is.
It's a gift. So with that journey, I had to rely on, one, my faith, and then two, my therapist, to dig deep and put in the hard work in order for me to release those gifts and share those testimonies with my community, with the world. So that's it. It's been hard. It's been hard when you hear things like people will never take you seriously as an author because you spelled a word wrong, right? It's hard. But one thing I know to be true, hard things are still doable.
Amen.
And the journey is always worth it. So, even today, I still have my challenges. I have times where I'm so stressed. I have severe writer's block. And it's like nothing. But that's okay. It's a part of the journey. It's a part of the process. And what's important is where we end up, the destination. So that means I can't quit. I have to keep going. I have to keep pressing. I have to keep writing. That's it. And that's all.
I truly appreciate your transparency with everything that you just said, because it is so much easier to look back at what we wrote and feel as though, I feel better now. I feel whole. Yeah. I've grown. Why do I need to share this? Yeah. Why does anyone else need to see my quote unquote ugly parts that I feel as though I've left in the background? If I've grown, how can anyone else benefit from what I've left behind? But as you mentioned, you saw a deeper purpose behind what you were doing, and you acknowledged that what you had was a gift, not just something you like to do, because that's what a lot of us like to think, right? I just like to do it. I'm just good at it. But at the end of the day, you recognize that it's something that's worth sharing, and so many other people can benefit from your story and change their own story through your words.
It does. I remember, I want to say it was 2 years ago. I had tried the whole Clubhouse thing, and what I was seeing at that time, I didn't like. And so I had, I deleted the app and I discontinued using it. And the Lord would bring it back to full circle. Whereas I was actually working with a good friend of mine on media coverage for Chef Gigi Saves the Day. I needed media. I was being featured on somebody else's blog. And so I had a specific musician in mind to help put the words that I had penned. I mean, the Lord gave me everything, how he wanted the song, the sound, the lyrics, everything. And I needed that Bahamian twist, the beat of the goatskin drum. Mm-hmm. I needed to have that rhythm. And so he gave me this person, but he didn't give it to me with the intent of what I thought it was for, right? His will is not our will. Yes. So he was like, well, are you on Clubhouse? And so I ended up joining the app again, right? So I went back on. The app, and I was featured on a Jamaican Writers Club. right?
Right.
Some sort of way he had found my book or whatever, and he wanted me to speak. And so I come on, and at the end of the interview, this lady raised her hand and she came up, and she just, I mean, she made me ugly cry,
Mm,
Michelle. She made me ugly cry. So
mm.
she was like, "You have no idea what Beautifully Broken did for me."
Wow.
So I said, "Excuse me," and she was from St. Kitts. I don't even know where St. Kitts is. From St. Kitts. And she said to me, she says, "Your book saved my life." So she said that she was a teacher and she had just had so much loss, and it was another teacher. She hadn't showed up for work, I guess, in a few days, and so the teacher stopped by to do a wellness check on her. And the teacher had a copy of Beautifully Broken in her car, and she was like, "This will help you. This will help you." So she said she wasn't going to read it, and one day she picked it up because she said it. She said it's a quick read,
Mhm.
but there's nothing small about it. And
Mm.
so now she's testifying and she's crying and I'm ugly crying. And I was like, "Thank you, Lord. This is why
Mhm.
I shared it."
Yes.
Even if it was just for her,
Yes.
just for that one, just for that one, to see God work within her in such a way is powerful. And especially
Yes.
as us women, we carry so much.
Mm.
We carry so much and we feel like we're in this by ourselves, but we are not. Even in our brokenness,
Yes.
even in our brokenness, God still
Mhm.
sees us with purpose, sees us in beauty. He says we are wonderfully, fearfully, in fact, fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
you know so I'm so glad that I had the strength to go ahead and release that, even if it was just
Mhm.
for her.
Yes. Absolutely. And she is more than grateful for you having the courage to put all of that on paper because it gave her the courage to now speak up. Because, as you stated, you were both caught up in emotions, releasing at the same time, and all of this started because you believed in yourself and you believed in your Savior
Yes,
enough to keep going.
yes, yes.
That is such an inspiring story, Gigi. Thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you.
Wow. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So one thing about books, including children's books, is I find them to be rays of sunshine in providing fun and inspiration to young minds on topics that can shape their tomorrows, similar to how your book has really helped to shape that woman's life. I love your focus on food within your books, Chef Gigi Saves the Day and Gigi's French Bakery, in a way that introduces strong life skills such as self awareness, teamwork, and embracing new environments. Why do you feel it's important for children to learn these traits?
So one of my favorite authors, her name is Dr. Dorothy Law Nault, and she wrote a poem called "Children Learn What They Live."
Mm,
That thing, it empowered me. I learned it in sixth grade, and I've been carrying it in my left pocket since then because it is so true. Children are like sponges.
mm-hmm.
Everything that they see, and especially in today's society where technology is just touch and go, I find that the mind stimulation is not necessarily 100%, a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing more beautiful than having words in a book. And because I know that children learn what they live, I wanted to provide a space, a place, a home, a school, a community in the form of a book, simply to teach and instill into our children those vital skills like teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
I say today we live in what I call a selfie centered society. And basically, what that means, I call it the selfie centered syndrome. Remember even when we evolved into cell phones and we got cameras, there wasn't an availability or an option to switch the camera to yourself, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Camera, the main focus of a camera is to take a picture of what's out there, not here, right? And so we got the roles reversed where we want to focus on us. It's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about me. And then we lock out the community. We lock out friends and families. We lock them out, and there's no more self-awareness. We're no longer taking, accountability for where we messed up. We're not really concerned about who our character is or what we represent. Whatever goes by, we're excited about the next new trend, regardless if it makes sense, regardless if it's lacking integrity. We are so focused on gravitating to those things. I can't have that on my watch. I can't. I will not have that on my watch. We shouldn't have that on our watch. We have to be in a position, and it starts in your household. It truly does. It starts in your household. At my dinner table, I have a sign that says, no technology, none is allowed at the dinner table. I have my son, he have to earn video game time. Read me 2 chapters, write me a summary, you gain 45 minutes. It's important to teach these structures. It's the foundation, because when we have children don't stay. They grow up.
Yes.
They grow up. So it was very important for me to really sit down, and believe it or not, I wrote Gigi's French Bakery in one night.
Wow.
In one night. I always joke around and I tell people the Holy Spirit is my muse. He's my muse. In one night. And I wanted to make sure hit on those key points. The importance of working together. The importance of not letting go of your dreams, or letting people tease you and say, oh, girl, you're too young, or, you're not this, or you're not qualified. We're not doing that anymore.
No.
We have to be able to look. And I have a 3-year-old grandson. And as soon as he says something that he knows is wrong, you know what he'll say? I'm sorry, Nanny. I'm sorry. I love you.
Yeah.
At 3. That's your self-awareness.
Yes.
So if a 3-year-old can understand the process of that and have that awareness, then that means it's capable, right?
Yes.
But we as parents, we as teachers, we as mentors, we as community members, it takes a village. Truly it does.
Yes.
And they learn from us. Why? Children learn what they live. Don't just give your child a phone to just get them out of the way. Read a book to them. Talk about it. Teach them these skills, because they are vital. As more so right now, in this day and time, in this era, it's important, because they will grow up, and whatever they learn or didn't learn is going to grow up with them.
Yes, absolutely. Those are some amazing points, especially how you mentioned that they lack that connectivity because they're so locked into technology. They don't know how to greet people, make friends, go outside and feel free to connect with Mother Nature as we were able to do. And also setting boundaries, understanding that at a young age, this is important, because as we grow into adults, many of us have difficulty understanding that we need to set our own personal boundaries.
Correct.
But if we were not introduced these things as children, we can easily lose our way.
That's right. And it's so important. I am a firm believer about the importance of emotional intelligence. It is vital.
Yes.
It is vital. So we want to raise children. We want to teach them and instill in them morals, values, spiritual ground, just to make sure that you have all of those things, so that you're able to master that emotional intelligence and make positive decisions to help not just inspire and encourage yourself, but to turn that camera this way and
Yes.
encourage, motivate, and inspire someone else. That's what it should be about.
Mhm. What you have shared so far, Gigi, it truly shows your love for community, youth development, and helping others, seeing the vision for them that they may not even see for themselves. You have done so many numerous acts of outreach, both here and internationally, that incorporate food as well as writing. And one of the most impactful ways that you've done that is what you've coined holidays. So how did we get there? What motivated this? I'm excited to learn more.
This mind is a serious thing, I tell you. So as far as with serving, to be honest, to be completely honest, I serve the way I do because I have this feeling I do not want anyone to feel the way I felt for so many years. For so many years, I had those feelings of not being loved. I felt unloved. I felt the spirit of rejection, right? I felt not qualified. And then sometimes it would switch. It'd be from not feeling qualified to being overqualified, but still can't get nowhere, right? I never wanted anybody to feel the way that I felt. So I made it my due diligence to go out there and attend to what the Bible would say in Matthew, the least of these. Because I didn't want to be in that position where I can't identify how I didn't show up, and welcome Jesus and serve Jesus. That's a horrible thought to think that I overlooked. I never want to have to answer that. Well, how did how? No, I make sure I show up for as many people as I can in any way. And so with holidays, my mother had a massive stroke. They didn't think she was going to make it. And so they said, just come on to the hospital. And I live in the Atlanta area. She lives in the state where lived. She passed. She lived in Kentucky, which is about 5 hours away from me. And so I loaded the kids up. My husband was on a mission. Loaded the kids up and we headed down to Kentucky. When we got there, as soon as we got to the hospital, the governor had stated that the state is shut down. So they weren't allowing anybody in the hospitals. Everything was completely on lockdown. I went ahead and got a room at my sister's hotel. And we stayed about 2 months there. And that's a lot of time. You're on lockdown. My mom's in the hospital. I got these kids, So the first thing we started doing every morning, we would pray for our mother and then we would have praise and worship service, right? So I was like, you know what? We need to share this energy.
Yeah.
So we started doing lives every morning, and at times when we couldn't do it, people be like, "Well, where's the praise and
Right,
worship?
I'm tuned
Right?
in. What's happening?
Where is it?" So we would have to do a rerun of praise and worship, and we did that for 2 months. Well, I had two friends, one from Florida. Actually, she was one of my bosses, and then a classmate that lives stateside, and they were like, "Man, you need to do a live with you cooking. You need to do," and again, faulty thinking. I was like, girl, ain't nobody want to listen to me. Ain't nobody going to show up for that. So I'm not going to waste my time doing no lives, right? They were so persistent. And really and truly, I have an alter ego that I have dubbed Petty Betty. I'm not perfect. God is still working on me and through me. Mm-hmm. So Petty Betty actually did the first live.
There we go.
So I was like, Kathy, this is for you, so you can leave me alone. Here's your live, right? So I did the live, and the response, it was so awesome. Now, I didn't go viral or nothing like that, but the community, man, yes. The community that I got, oh my word. So I made myself a promise. I said, oh, if only one, again, that number one, if only one person show up to the live, the show will go on. I'm going to teach somebody today. Mm-hmm. Somebody going to learn how to plate. Somebody going to learn the difference between doing this. Now, mind you, The only training I've got in food nutrition was at government high school. Mistress Dames was my cookery teacher. That's
Shout out.
that's it. Besides my grandparents who cooked, right? My grandparents,
Mhm.
my grandmothers, they were bakers and cooks and all of that. So I am not classically trained. I didn't go to school. And so I started. So I don't know what made me, maybe boredom. I don't know. So I was like, well, let me start decorating cakes. I always know how to bake a good cake. But I never really, and to look back from where I started and where I am now in the past 3 years continues to blow my mind, right? And
Mhm.
so I started doing cakes, and again, Kentucky is on lockdown. That included restaurants. And so I would start cooking, and then I would share food with my buddies now that we living in this hotel with. And so when I got back to Georgia, I couldn't let that go. So
Mhm.
I was just baking and cooking, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start putting it out there. And we have an app called Nextdoor that I got banned from.
Oh no.
Banned off Nextdoor. But that was the best thing that could ever happen. Why? Because 90% of my clients come off of Nextdoor, and I'm not on there. Okay. People
Awesome.
continue to share my name and,
There
you
you
know,
go.
tell these things. So that's okay. It did what it was supposed to do. But I got back, and if I see if seniors, my heart goes out to seniors, women, and children. Those three, I can't fight, but I'll do my best to go down. Right?
Mhm.
I protect them by all means necessary. So if there's a senior or somebody that's the least of, these, as the Bible coins it, if you can't afford it and you want a good gourmet cake, I got you. And so I wasn't charging anything. And so it got to the point where my community was like, okay, now Gigi, you can't keep doing this. You
Yeah.
you have to put a price. You have to put a price. So eventually I was like, you know what, you're right. This cannot just be a hobby. I have to make this into a business. And
Mhm.
I came up with OMGIGIBEE because every time I would serve, whether it be or whether it be a dinner, that would be the response. OMGG, OMGG. So I was like, yep, that's what it is. That's the experience that I want to share,
Yeah.
with the community. So now here it is, November. And I'm like, oh, what can I do? Now, my husband was deployed. He was overseas for about, I think, 18 months. And I was like, what can we do? I said, oh, I know the perfect thing we can do. So I got with my kids. I was like, how about holidays? Right?
There
It's
you
the
go.
holiday, and we can make it a date night. And so it's still COVID time. And
Mhm.
so, but we were starting to, open up a little bit. So I'm like, well, I'm going to open up my home, and I'm going to sponsor 6 to 8 couples. And I'm going to do, I think that the first time I did a 6-course gourmet meal. So I'm talking lamb chops. I'm talking about stuffed lobster tails.
Ooh,
That
fancy.
Okay, fancy,
Mm.
fancy, fancy. Okay. So I did that. My kids, I absolutely love my kids, and they're so hospitable. My youngest son dressed in a little t-shirt tuxedo, and he's seating the guests, madam, sir, how can I help you? That's what it's about. So that's how
Mhm.
holidays started. And I was like, okay, we can't let this go. And I think I did do, so I invited those couples, and then I also sponsored 2 families for me to come into their homes. I think one was they were elderly, and the other couple, they were up there. So I actually went into their homes and I served them, and I gave them that complete experience. So I said, okay, before my business, I always used to bake fruitcakes. And in America, fruitcakes is like, what? No, we ain't want that. Until I started
What?
making that Bahamian fruitcake. Now everybody,
There
you
you go.
make 20 fruitcakes?
Yeah.
So I always gave back in that way. I would always do cakes and cheesecakes and different pastries, right? And I would just give them back to my community, Christmas gifts instead of cards. That's what we would present from the Parker family. So I was like, man, let's continue this. So we're going to continue to do this during the holiday season, Christmas and November. We're going to sponsor. So that way I'm still having that capability, to give back to my community. And then, of course, my neighbors, they get to experience things like that just about every day. But I wouldn't have it anyway. I love community. And if that gives me an opportunity to tantalize these taste buds, as well as nourish you from head to toe, then baby,
Hello.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And that I believe that that's what God has called me to do. That's one of the things He has given me. So yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to serve until I can't serve no more. That's just it.
There you go, girl. I love it. Oh my goodness. Especially how you emphasize the necessity, but also the beauty of serving. When persons here serving, they always kind of feel as though they're less. Do you know what I mean? As though they're
Yeah.
coming towards someone and making some sort of a sacrifice, but that's not it at all.
Not at
Serving
all.
means that I want to give to you. I want to feed into you. I want to
Yes.
help restoration, rejuvenation. Let me be that person. And in understanding that this is fulfilling for you at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I wouldn't trade it. Along the way, more recently, I had to learn to find that balance though, right? I remembered several years ago, my eldest daughter would have called me a yes mom. She's like, "Mom, you're a yes mom," but it wasn't positive. It wasn't positive.
Okay.
And I was like, "What? No, I'm not a yes." She said, "Yeah, you never say no. You say yes to everybody. You always say yes. You always say yes." And so it made me think. I thought about it just a few short months ago. And I'm like, okay, I have to set those boundaries because what I ended up doing was putting myself in that position where people expected me to
Yes.
always.
There you go.
But I had my part in that because I always said yes. I would take orders. I remembered one weekend I had 2 wedding cakes and a customized birthday cake. And the customized birthday cake and the other wedding cake was last minute,
Oh.
right? And I have this, what I call this, the superwoman complex. It's not a good thing. Don't have that. Again, it's something we as women think because we are, let me see how I want to say this. Not because we are capable of carrying the weight means that we should always carry the weight. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
So I'm learning right now, I'm still learning how to process and have that balance of saying, okay, well, I can't do it, but this is what I can do. I know a phenomenal blank, right?
Yes.
That's that. And really, if you think about it, it's still building community.
Mm-hmm.
It's still building a community. I had told my therapist I'm going to get a t-shirt that says, "My name is Gigi, not Jesus," right? He didn't send me to save the world. That's his job. That's his job. That's his job.
Yes.
Right? So when he speaks to me, I need to be in a position to hear from him, right? Understand and know that it's his voice, and then move accordingly. So that means sometimes I'm going to say no. Sometimes I'm going to say not yet, not this time. And sometimes I'm going to say, you know what? Here's somebody else who can fill in the blank.
Yes. Absolutely. So, so true. And that is something that we as women definitely need that reminder for. We have such big hearts. We're so nurturing. We're so understanding. And we feel as though there's a sense of guilt in saying no, because it's almost like, how can I choose myself when I see someone in need? But you are also a person in need. You owe it to yourself.
Yes.
Your peace of mind, your restoration. Yes. You have to be better and rested for tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. And that's one thing I didn't even have myself on the list. I don't remember if I said it to my pastor, but I said it to somebody. And I was like, now I know this isn't in the Bible. I know God didn't say, love yourself more, or take, I think that comes on as back to that selfie-centered syndrome, right?
Mhm.
I said, but that's how come I ended up here. I said, but I have to take care of me.
Yes.
I have to take care of me. I have to be able to find that balance, because I was at a point where I wasn't even on my own list
Mm-hmm.
at all. I had a cousin asked me to name her 3 things that I love to do for myself. And I started naming, I had a list for her. I was like, oh yeah, I love, inviting people to my home and
Yeah.
being able to just serve them. And she was like, Gigi, no,
That don't count.
that don't count. And I was confused. And I'm like, what do you mean that don't count?
Mm-hmm.
She was like, Gigi, come on now. That don't count. That's not for you. I said,
Mm-hmm.
but it is kind of. She said, no, I didn't ask you what's kind of that you do for yourself. She said, name me 3 things. And I could not name her 3 things. And this was years ago. Do you know, I just got 2 things out of the 3.
You gotta work on that third one, girl.
I'm,
Gotta
wor-
work on that.
I'm working on that third one, baby. By the end of this year, I can have that third thing on lock. But I was proud to be able to identify the 2.
Yes. Love it. Awesome. Yes.
Give me that gold star for that. But by the end of this year, I can have that third thing. That's just for me.
Yes.
That's just for me. So I can give back and share with all of you.
Absolutely. And I applaud your cousin for approaching you on that, and for you being open enough to stop and listen and really think about it, because a lot of times we get defensive.
Yeah.
We feel like, what are you talking about? Girl, I love myself.
I love myself. No.
No.
The proof is in the pudding.
Yes. And they recognize that we need to do better for ourselves, and they love us. They care. And so it's so good that you both have that relationship that has allowed you to put yourself as more of a priority amongst everything that you do, and everyone who appreciates you. Gigi is on the list.
Yes. She made it to the list, y'all. She made it to the list.
And she's staying on.
She's staying on it.
Gigi, you have touched on so much that is included in your brand, OMGIGIBEE. And it is certainly an expression. The first time that I read it, I was like, this is something that someone says out loud. This is them being like, girl, this is, speechless.
Yes. I can't have it any other way.
Yes. And so I know that it's centered around integrity and love. And there are so many aspects and ounces of you in everything that you do that it is just felt instantly.
Yeah. One of the things that I truly love about myself is that my transparency. Honesty is truly the best part. And so when I cook, and especially when I bake, I have this perfectionism, and it used to be an unhealthy perfectionism, to be honest, because in the back, those faulty thinking is like, oh God, this got to be perfect, but it was for the wrong reasons. It got to be perfect because this is your name, you don't want nobody to be talking about you.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a stickler. When I get the vision, you call me. I don't see my clients as just clients, right? I see them as people first. Yes. So when they call me, they reach out, hey, I want a cake. I start asking questions. We start having, just like how we having conversations right now. We start talking, and I have my sketch. I always used to say I can't draw to save my life. But when it comes to cake, I can get those ideas on paper. And if I can, the Lord has blessed me with a talented nephew. I could say those things to him, and he could make the vision plain, right? Because that's where it starts. You
Yeah.
have to write it down. Make it
Yes.
plain. So they're telling me, and I'm writing, and I'm sketching, and I don't share anything. And again, my muse, just how my muse show up in my writing,
Mm-hmm.
Holy Ghost shows up when I get in the kitchen. Every single cake that I have ever made, they don't give me no theme. They give me free will. So the only thing they'll say is, okay, well, I want a mermaid theme. That's it. Okay. Or I want a Alice in Wonderland theme. That's it. I don't know what color schemes they're going with. Every single time I have made a cake and I deliver, I present it, and I look all the decorations. I mean, to the T.
Whoa.
To the T.
Girl, you get
Every
it.
time.
Mm.
Every time. So I listen to the Holy Ghost when he speaks to me. And I'm honest with myself. If you see me have a bad day, I cannot bake. If my attitude ain't right, if it ain't check, if Petty Betty in charge, forget about it. It's a wrap. But I have to have that honesty. I have to find that integrity. I need to combine that love
Yes.
to make these masterpieces. I have a friend, she refused to call me a cake baker. She refuses to call me a cake decorator. She calls me the cake architect.
There you go.
Because I have never seen things like this in my life. She said, the precision, the way these things are built, it is mind blowing. She said, man, that's architecture. You taking these structures and I thought about it. I said, you know what, Dr. Sue? I think you're right. I think you're right. But it takes that love and integrity. I started during I want to say last year, when prices started going up, right? When eggs and everything was ridiculous.
Flour, yeah.
Flour was ridiculous. And we feel it in America too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I have to find another way to cut this cost because I want to continue having competitive prices.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't give it away anymore. I can't just do that. If I'm saying that this is my business, I have to make money, right? I have to make money. And so I had one client and she was like, girl, just get a cake mix. Just get a box of cake mixers. That's cheaper than buying flour. But because of the integrity in my work, I said, man, I can't just mix up no 3 eggs, a quarter cup of oil and some water and charge nobody to do that.
Yeah.
So, but I had that in my mind. And I don't remember where we had got. Somebody had brought over my friend who started out as a cake client, Miss Freddie. Miss Freddie always used to bring stuff over to me. Oh, you always doing these cooking shows. You could use this for something. So I had all these cake mixes. So I was like, and I used to have a bad habit where I would go and call it my invention phase. And I'll be throwing things together and it worked. And guess what? I ain't write it down yet.
Not a thing.
I write it down.
Go in the spirit. Tristan.
Yeah. The recipe God speak to me. So I was like, no, I got to change this. So I was intentional. So I grabbed down the cake mix boxes, and that's where I came up with the guava and cream cheese cupcakes that I have the recipe for my Chef Gigi Saves the Day.
Girl,
So
I need that book.
First experimentation with using cake mix. And then I was like, okay, I have to elevate this. I have to elevate this. So I did I got my recipe book out. I started writing things down. And, you know, baking isn't like cooking. It's a science. Yes. It's STEM, right? It's STEM and STEAM because you have the math and then you also have the artistry behind it. Mm-hmm. And so I perfected, I call it my doctored wedding cake recipe. Let me tell you, Michelle, you would never dream that started out from a box. Wow. And my clients prefer that over my old recipes.
What?
Over my old recipes. You hear what I'm telling you? I did my sister's wedding cake back in June. Don't tell nobody because I'm supposed to be back in the kitchen yet until July 23rd, but it's a secret. But I told there's no way, don't tell nobody. I'm like, there's no way I'm not going to be there for your wedding. There's no way you're going to have nobody else. You definitely ain't get no cake from Walmart or Sam's. Sorry, Sam's and Walmart. But need to be there. So I told her, I said, now, this recipe is going to have cake mix in it. You can hang with that. She said, man, I don't care how you do it.
Mm.
I made, and her cake was one of the largest cakes I have ever made. It was 7 tiers, right?
Wow.
4 tiers of cake, and then I had like 2 clear stands, and they killed the cake. People was coming. One lady, she was like, Chef Gigi, I don't even eat cake. But you see me, this is my 3rd time back up here. She don't even eat cake. You hear how many times?
Mm-hmm.
3rd.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it takes integrity.
Yes.
It takes love. And you have to combine, because it's my belief. This Gigi belief. This is Gigiism is what I call them, right? You cannot say you have integrity if you don't have love. And here's why. Because if you're not honest, and we have to start with being honest with ourselves first, right? When we going through things, where's this attitude coming from? Why is it that we have to be honest with us first and do the work. I say that there's no such thing as moving forward if you can. 1, face it. 2, trace it. 3, replace it. And then 4, erase it.
Yes.
There's no moving forward. And so in order to do those things, you have to have integrity. You have to be honest with you and the people you are serving first. Because once you know how to be honest and speak your truth in love now, don't let the petty Betty, don't
let her out.
It's fine. You can't let her come out too frequently, right? In love, that's important. That is key. In love. Then, because what? We treat who we love and what we love, we treat it well. We nurture it. Yes. We respect it. We honor it. We embrace it. You know. And so in order to love something, how can we love something if we can't be honest with it? If I know my bicycle needs WD-40, if that's still a thing, that's telling my age. If the bicycle needs WD-40 and you know it needs WD-40 and the neighbor say, man, I need to use your bike to go to work. You know it ain't tuned up. You know it all rusty and can't pedal. You know that. And you try to jazz it up or oh, child, well, yeah, you can take the bike, it's old. And you're not being honest. The person go out there and hurt themselves. Then, again, back to taking accountability. Oh, well, you should have checked the bike.
Yeah.
You should have checked it. Integrity and love, they go together in every area of our lives. In every area of our lives, it needs to show up first.
Yes.
I can't take a cake mix box and put 3 eggs, the oil and water, mix it up, whop, 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 and then charge you $300 for a cake. No, man. And if I do that, then I need to tell you,
yes,
look, this is just a cake box. This is a cake mix. This is Betty Crocker. You have to have integrity. You have to have love in order for it to work. And I believe with all my heart, that's why it works for me. When I take one out or the other, it ain't gonna work. You still using them $7 eggs trying to make this cake, and it ain't come together yet. It's imperative.
Yes. Gigi, I love the 4 steps that you mentioned, which is to face it, trace it, very important. We don't like to go back to the source.
We don't go back now.
We don't want to think about, what started this, asking ourselves that question. Why do I feel this way? Why do I think about this in that light? How did I get here? Yeah. Why did this get started? Replace it. Super important, because we can know the first 2 and never replace it.
Correct. Holding on to it. Holding on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Protecting it for whatever reason.
Whatever reason.
But to erase it, Gigi, erase it. There is power There is freedom.
Yes.
There is forgiveness.
Yes. And forgiveness is key, baby. Forgiveness is key. I had a conversation with a friend just day before yesterday. We have it's four of us. We grew up together, and it hurt my heart to find out that two out of the four is at odds, right?
Mm,
And so I took that time and I was like, no, man, we have to address this. Again, speaking your truth in love. And so
yeah.
after speaking with her, I found out, man, I was like, this is deeper than you even know. I
Mhm.
said, your little hurt, the little hurt child inside of you, that's who you're nurturing.
Yes.
And you're allowing her to grow and grow stronger and stronger. I said, and if you don't take care of that, she's going to check you and you will never grow. And then the next relationship is going to be the same, and then the next, and then the next. And then you're going to get, be filled with resentment. You're going to be angry. I told her, I said, and the root cause of anger is fear.
Hmm.
And it's the fear that wants us to protect our junk.
Yes.
It's self-soothing. Then we have to keep making up reasons as to why we don't like such and such and so and so. And it's all in our head.
Hmm.
Forgiveness is key. It frees us.
Yes.
You know, it's so important.
Yes. It can take us to a place that we never dreamed was possible. A
Correct.
sense of inner peace when we come into agreement with the child that we wanted to be. So the nurtured child, the loved child, the forgiven child. And now we become one in a way that's beautiful.
Yes.
And we can live our
Even in our
lives.
brokenness.
Yes, there you go. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. It's beautiful.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, yes, yes.
So true. So true. Gigi, I must say that with everything that you do over in the United States of America, I admire the fact that you still stay true to your Bahamian roots, honey.
Can't change it. Born, bred, and got dead. A Bahamian.
Oh, somebody. Because you have continued to show mentorship and sponsorship, especially for those Bahamian women who you felt for that were majorly impacted by Hurricane Dorian in 2019. I thank you so much for your service in this way. And I'm sure that you know that your contribution goes beyond words for those ladies. Why was it important for you to give back in this way?
Oh my word. Like I grew up, as we all as Bahamians, we used to face hurricanes all the time.
Yeah.
But just to see the amount of devastation and destruction and lives lost, it was heart wrenching. It was heart wrenching. It was unbelievable to even to witness this, right? And I'm like, there has to be a way. There has to be a way to offer help. And so Mary Lucy Holiday and we came together and we were like, okay, well, let's do this. And we wasn't sure like how it looked. We just know that we wanted to bring these ladies over to pour into them, right? And give them, restore that hope, to restore
Hmm.
this hope. So I started doing the research and networking. I had contacted Renee Johnson, and she's a part of Itwala. And I shared the vision with her. And I'm like, this is what we're looking for, man. I'm looking for women who, really went through the ringer and need something. I told her, I said, I wish we were able to raise enough funds to sponsor more women.
Yeah.
But the Lord put it so to give us seven. So we had five women that were impacted directly from Dorian. And then we had two people that were the forerunners with rescue missions and finding the resources to help those that would have, because they need pouring into as well, right?
Yes.
So I went ahead and I wrote it up and we started doing fundraisers. However we could get money, we were
Hmm.
asking people who had points for airlines, however we can get it. It was important for us to do that, to pour in and to love into these women and show them that God is still God. God is still good. He is. He is enough, and he is more than enough. That's the sunflower way. And sunflower is SON, shining on the one and only sun, not SUN. And it was important. It was so important for me to be able to do that. We got 2 women from Abaco, and one lady, after speaking to her, I had to check myself. Because I know I love God. And I thought me and him was like this. I thought we were ace boon coons. But after hearing her testimony, I was like, ugh, that hurt. I had to check myself real fast. I had to repent. I say, Father, I have some work to do. Because she had lost her son. Like, nobody knew how to swim. They all were ejected into those rushing waters. And her little boy had died. And so she was sharing how, God provided this school bus for them. And they were just watching things, like houses and cars watched by them. And she said that bus just shook like this one time. I said, girl, you were in an ark. Wow. But what blew my mind away was this. I said, oh, yeah, you need to be here, honey. What blew my mind was this. She said to me, Miss Gigi, she said, I was on that bus praising God for the short years. I believe she said her son was either 6 or 7. She said, I started praising God for the 7 years he blessed me with my son. And that's immediately I had to check myself. Because I asked myself a question. I was like, self, you got 3 children. And even on the worst day, would you be able to say something like that? And again, I had to be honest with me.
Yes.
And I couldn't say that I would say yes. You know what it is to lose a child and you praising God and you thanking God for it? I said, you need to be there. And we raised enough funds. The only thing we required for them to do, Michelle, was to show up to the airport. That's it. No bags. Bring nothing.
Yes, just
the clothes you're wearing, and we got everything else. Again, it's not about the numbers.
Yes.
It's who it's for. Because what God has for you, you certainly going to receive it. And that was one of the best retreats I could say we had ever had. We put together a choir, and this is how God works. So the team at the retreat, every group has a theme. And our theme, we were the blessings group.
Okay.
And as it would have it, all of the retreats, there's a portion of the retreat where you have to create a song based on the name of your group.
Okay.
So we came up with The Lord is Blessing Me. And so we had Renee Johnson from Twyla, and then we had the former Miss Bahamas, Rashay Sands. Beautiful person. Beautiful, amazing individual, and her daughter. So now we have our choir, and we're singing The Lord is Blessing Me, and that place burst out in a praise. And mind you, this retreat, we have people from all walks of life. All walks. And so to see these people just jump up and join in the fellowship and praising God, I always say praise and worship is more than just music. It's a ministry.
Yes.
And the ministry should always present the word of God, because that's where our hope comes from. That's what keeps us alive, right? God breathes his breath into his word. Just to be a part of that was enough for me. But it just kept getting better and better and better. And that same mother, she was so withdrawn with reason, right? With reason. But baby, by the third day morning, she was up there testifying. She was there pouring. Like all of the women. The other lady, she She was a senior. She was up there in age. I call them seasoned folks. She was seasoned, just right. And she had lost her business. She had a gas station in Abaco and a home and everything. And she had to move to the States with her daughter. And we were able to again, I researched, and she was in Philadelphia. And so I contacted my friend who was in Philly. I said, you got anybody that, came up there as refugees from the hurricane that can you? And he hooked me up with her. So I told her, bring your daughter too. You and your daughter come.
Yeah.
And so we had another lady from Freeport. So it wasn't just from, Abaco. It was several ladies throughout that were impacted or affected from Dorian. And so that in itself was such a beautiful testimony to be a part of. And it was nobody but God. God constructed that so perfectly. And to this day, I am so glad that he wove them into the tapestry of my life, because my life has been forever changed from their testimony, their experience. The Bahamas Blessing Project, oh my word, to God be the glory, because it was great things that was accomplished through that ministry.
Yes, what an incredible story. And Gigi, I don't know if you've realized it, but from you sharing your experience at the retreat, you became that one.
I became the one.
So the one who you said, if only one person.
I didn't even realize that.
And influence. Gigi was the one.
I was the one.
There you go. Because that has not left you. You still, as you started to talk about it, you were in that place again.
Yeah.
And everything was raw and real because it stayed with you.
It is. Yes. It's in my pocket. I got a lot of things in these pockets now. A lot of things in there. A lot of good things. They my tools.
And the amazing thing is that, we've touched on this because I believe that your Christian background, and it has showed a lot throughout our discussion today, has acted as a pillar and a beacon of guidance and hope for your life. There was a verse by the late, great Bahamian Dr. Miles Monroe where he stated the importance of dying empty.
Yes.
How are his words meaningful to you?
When I heard him say that, my whole posture shifted. And I immediately, that was another thing that I held on to. And I was like, this coming with me. God has given each and every one of us something. Something. Now, there might be some like me who he would have blessed with some other things, right? And at first, listening from people, right, putting those seeds into my ear, and I would hear, girl, you got to pick one thing. You got to pick one thing. You just all over the place. You just doing da. And so sometimes I used to question myself, am I doing too many things? Like, and then I'm like, wait a second. God, give me these gifts. He gave them to me.
All of them.
He gifted all of them to me with a purpose.
Yes.
And so when Dr. Miles said to die empty, I sat back in my chair, my shoulders, position changed immediately. And I was like, thank you, God, for that. Because I'm going to promise you right now today that every good gift that you have blessed me with ain't near one going in an ashes urn or no box to be buried or thrown into the air. Yes. Every one of those gifts I am going to saturate. And it's not based off of legacy, because this thing ain't about me at all. That's the thing.
Yes, Exactly.
It ain't about me
Mm-hmm.
at all. It's to glorify my Father who art in heaven first, and then secondly, to edify his children, my brothers and sisters here on earth. And so I find it phenomenal how I was able to envelope, to incorporate OMGGB, which in my mind thought it as just baking cakes.
Mm-hmm.
And then it grew to just baking cakes and providing this private dining experience for such and such. Then it went to, oh girl, we love the way you dress and how you put yourself together. And so then now I'm offering, people are contacting me on what type of clothes to take on vacation. What should they wear? How should they wear this? What do you think about my hair? How to do? I know hairstylists. Or, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like all these things that he's given me, the gift of writing
Yes.
that was with me from the beginning. All of these things I'm able to incorporate under one umbrella. Under one umbrella. And they fit together.
Yes.
So beautifully. The puzzle pieces, they interlock. I can't afford to die empty. I can't afford it. I have to make sure and put everything out there. I can't take nothing with me. Nothing. Nothing. If the Spirit gave it to me, that's my job to sew it back. And it's not so people could stand up over my box and say, well, Gigi was a blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so when that day comes for my Lord God to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. That's what it's about. And so that's what I heard when Dr. Miles would have said that. That's what inspired me to hold on to that and say, yeah, every good thing you give me, God, you gave it to me, and I got to make it work for your glory. I got to make it work. And that's why numbers don't matter to me. That's why it don't matter to me. Because whether it's 1,000,000,001, you're going to get the same experience. Whether your cake is free or you paid me $1,000 to make it, is going to be the same thing with the foundation of love and integrity. Whether it's 1 or 1,000,000,001 coming to see me or hear me speak or present or purchase a book or sign a book, is going to be the same thing. I could only be this beautiful, broken creator of God himself, who is fearfully and wonderfully made. That's it. That's all.
Yes. Yes. And that is such a reminder to all of us that we have these gifts for a reason. We are meant to share them. We are meant to impact other people's lives through them, and not to think that what we have, even if we feel we only have one, is
Correct.
too long. Absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely.
And we used to sing a song growing up. I hold on to things that's valuable. I don't throw those things away. We used to sing a song back in Vacation Bible School. Well, I was in a children's choir, so it might have been that too. But the lyric, one of the lines says, life without purpose is more tragic than to die. Life without reason may raise the question why. But God has given us our purpose and his plan, which is to proclaim Jesus, Lord of every man. Because we have a purpose and God has the plan. And like I say, from children's choir, I put that in my back pocket. I tell you now, my pocket locked and loaded.
Yeah, girl, this pocket's heavy.
They're heavy. But I'm capable. I'm capable of carrying.
Yes, carrying the load.
Yes, yes, yes.
I also really appreciate that you shared that story, because it gave you that confirmation that you are not extra. You have those persons around you, like you said, pick one. Girl, you cannot do it all. You can't be good at all these things. You may just one. Just focus
That's
on
one.
that. And a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
elders like to say that as well. Choose one. Follow just this one path. Just do this one thing. And a part of it is they're just looking out for our safety. They're
Yeah,
looking out
yeah.
for our security, but it's also connected to their own level of conditioning and
Correct.
understanding that if you just do one, you can perfect that and you can get it right, and that will be yours. But they put aside all of the other gifts, as you stated, that intertwine so beautifully,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't leave them behind.
When I changed my major to psychology, they were like, "We don't get it. We don't get it." It's like, why would you do that? That's just nonsensical. Don't make sense. And I'm like, yeah, well, for you, it doesn't make sense. Like I told you earlier, I deliver my cakes, right? Very seldom I allow clients to come and pick it up. I deliver, and that's with intent. Because the lasting impression isn't the cake, It's the words that are exchanged between me and that person. It's who God has created Gigi to be. God is gracious. And so that's a part of me. I'm sharing with my clients. And that's the part they gravitate to.
Yes.
That's the part they gravitate to. And so I know I have a passion to serve, like I say, old people, women and children. I will fight. I will go hands down, and I ain't no fighter. But I will. Because that's something I am passionate about. Protecting those. And so me having the education to back up whatever it is, whatever calling, however you want to say, how is that hurting anybody?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And the mind is a serious thing. And you use the right word, that conditioning.
Yes.
We have to be able to recalculate some things, have a brain washing to remove those stigmatisms and those faulty thinkings. And guess what? Again, if we are really depending on God, if we truly believe that He has given us all of these things,
yes,
then we're safe and secure anyway. Because we lean in on His everlasting arms.
Yes.
So that's the type of thinking we need to have. We either, I say this to my kids all the time, pick a side. Pick a side. Because we cannot say we trust God and then God gives us these packages and we just let them sit underneath the Christmas tree because we scared if we all open it, what it gonna be? That don't even make no sense. Somebody give you a gift, the first thing you do is you open it, right? And once you see that, correct, and once you see the contents of what's inside, then you are faced with a decision. Am I going to use it? Am I going to re-gift it? Or I'm just going to give it away? You still have to make a decision.
Yes.
But it starts with picking up the gift and opening it. So I've made the decision. Once my Lord has handed that over to me, I'm unwrapping the package. And I've been trying, like the old people who trying to save the paper.
Oh, yeah, you know that.
I'm ripping that. And whatever it is, I have already decided to follow Jesus anyway, right?
Yes.
No turning back. No turning back. So if it's several gifts, baby doll, He gonna provide the way. Because why? He is a way maker.
Yes.
He's orchestrating it all anyway. So my life is going to have purpose that lead others to Christ. I'm going to say something led by the Holy Spirit that's going to make you ask yourself those honest questions, those hard questions, for you to make the choice. How are you going to allow Him to make your life purposeful? So you too could have that final destination. And He can say to you too, well done.
Yes.
Well done.
Absolutely. I love that simple reminder to really look at the gifts that we've received as something that we should be not just thankful for, but stay hungry. Stay hungry to experience them, explore them, grow in them, but
Yes,
most importantly, share them as He has
yes,
shared them with us.
yes, yes.
Yes. And that way we can look at the things that we do a lot differently. I think sometimes we just get so comfortable. Well, I could just do it so well. I just
Hmm.
like it,
Hmm.
But if you think about it as a true gift, it means so much more every time we tap into it.
It does. It does. My daughter had sent me a photo. I think it was my husband's first birthday cake. It was so terrible. And the funny thing about it is, looking back, I didn't think it was terrible, you know. I thought that was the dopest thing ever.
It's
Like,
a
what?
bomb.
Yes, I was proud of that. I think I had posted it on Facebook, everything. I was so excited about it. And so now I'm going through, I was like, oh my God. But that's the thing. You have to start somewhere. You
Yes.
and not because you have the gift means, and I remember saying this to a client. I'm like, here's the thing. I know God gave me this gift, but I still have work to do too.
Hmm.
I can't just go and say, yeah, well, I trust God. He gave me this mixing bowl. He gave me this mixing bowl and this spoon and these two pans and this butter to grease this pan with. Okay, I can just leave them right there and let's let God work. Let God be God.
Right. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how it works. Can God do it? God can do anything but fail. But that's not how He designed it. We too have to put in the work. The Bible says faith
Yes.
without work is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Is dead. So we too have to put in the work. So when He gives us these gifts, again, like I said, we have to make a decision.
Yes.
We didn't see what it is. Now what's the next move? What's the choice? How are we going to continue to perfect this craft? Because you should never be on the same level. When we were born, either breastfed or we drinking Infamil, SMA, I don't know if that's still a thing, tell my age again, Similac or one of those things. You know, you don't stay on that for the rest of your life.
It's true.
Eventually you're moving up and sooner than later you eating steak. So if you are still at the same step from God gave you that entrepreneurship, or you constantly going to school and then you switching major after major after major after major after major, you won't graduate. You then did a whole doctor's term
Mm-hmm.
and you still the same spot. If it's relational, you and your spouse are going through something and you have all these tools to make it better, but yet you stay redundant, you stay just complacent.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put in the work. You
Yeah.
have to perfect the gift that
Mm.
He has given to you and do it with intention. We have to be intentional about it. Like
Yeah.
I say, when my clients talk, we having a conversation, I'm writing down. And I encourage people to write things down, make it plain. Oh, it works so much.
It does.
It's beneficial. And I think that's why I survived in those long church services here, because I would take notes. I always took notes.
Mm-hmm.
So I can go back and read over and get whatever the Lord have for me to get out of it. It's super important.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for that, Gigi. You have shared a very powerful word, a lot of things for us to take into consideration and see the things that we've been blessed with in a whole new light.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. So, because you have blessed us with all of this Gigi-ism, we have to know, how can we connect with you, grab a copy of your books, also become one of your clients if we hopping down to Atlanta, Georgia, or if you can come, sneak in a
Yeah,
little
I
bit,
travel, child.
whatever.
I travel. I got passport.
There you go. Let us know how we can show our support.
Yes, ma'am. So all of my books, all four of them, are all available on Amazon.com. And I actually was running a promotion for the 50th.
Okay.
So I have to check and see if it's still, but Chef Gigi saves the day. I think I had it down as low as $7.99 for the physical copy.
Okay.
For the physical copy, and then it's also available on Kindle or as an ebook, and that was 99 cents. So something I wanted to do to give back to my Bahamian people. And I also have one copy available for you, Michelle. So I
Really?
need, yes, I do.
Oh,
I have your copy right here.
yay! I love it. Oh, yay.
So this
Thank
is your copy. So I
you.
need to know how to get this to you.
Yes, we're going to
And
get
yeah, so I have copies available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. And whenever I come, I try to bring books with me, whether to gift or for purchase, or a combination of both. This trip was more a mecation, so I didn't bring any extra copies. But you let me know and I'll get them to you. If you want me to sign them whenever I'm in town, you just hit me up on Facebook at GGB. So that's at G as in good, I as in intentional, G as in good, I as in intentional, B like the bumblebee. I don't sting though. Well, sometimes, but not too hard. I don't
move
cross it.
it. Move it.
So at GGB on Facebook or at OMGIGIBEE also on Facebook. On Instagram, it's at OMGGB, and that's all my decadent delights and what I do in the kitchen. Or if you want to see how I'm moving, how I'm shaking on the authoress side, it would be at Geleta Parker Writes, and that's on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok, and that's GGB_1. You could also contact me at omggb@gmail.com to find out how I can come either to serve you a meal, make you a cake architect, or share, speak, motivate you, inspire you through words, or present any one of my books for a book signing. So that's how you would reach out to me. I also have a website, JeletaParkerWrites.com. And those are the ways you can connect. Come on over and follow the OMGGB Experience train. It's a good train to be on.
Yes, and we've only gotten a glance of that today, so I can only imagine being a passenger on that ride.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Gigi, thank you so much for sharing all of your contacts. We have no excuses to say we don't know how to keep up with you. Check out your next cake creation and being a
Yes.
part of all of your outreach and community service and experiences that you provide. You have given us so much to think about when it comes to our own children, remembering that they learn what they live, providing the guidance, setting the boundaries, creating a life that allows them to be self-aware and embrace new environments as they continue to grow. Prepare them for the adults that we want them to be, for the experiences that we want them to have that took us a little while longer to get to. Also, remembering the value of the gifts that we were given. And remembering, especially in this advanced technology world, caught up in social media, that it takes just one to create that impact and to know that what we are doing is of purpose and service.
Yes. Yes.
I thank you so much for your time and for our audience for tuning in tonight. If you are just a part of our show, you can watch the full replay on this Facebook page as well as YouTube. A very special thank you to Gigi, who continues to pour into our youth, pour into women and families around the world, giving her all, ensuring that she dies empty, knowing that every gift is used to its fullest potential. I admire your courage. I admire your service. And I thank you for everything that you continue to do.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's the OMGGB way, and I refuse to change it. After all, my saying goes, OMGGB, it's the taste for me.
There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, with that, I invite you all to join me next week for another episode of Vibration, where I raise your frequency and amplify your truth. Bye, everyone.
Bye.